Please hear the reading of God's holy word. On the evening of that first day of the week, when the disciples were together with the doors locked for fear of the Jewish leaders, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." After he said this, he showed them his hands and side. The disciples were overjoyed when they saw the Lord. Again, Jesus said, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you." And with that, he breathed on them and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit. If you forgive anyone's sins, their sins are forgiven. If you do not forgive them, they are not forgiven." The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
In June of 1968, I was assigned to the Fort Bordeaux Medium Truck Company in the Republic of South Vietnam. I'd just gotten in country, maybe a couple of days, just been assigned a platoon, and just getting stuff squared away. And a fellow from an orderly room came by and said, "Go down to the motor pool, check out a truck, and go to the ammunition dump and pick up that trailer that's sitting there, and then take it back to the staging area where it's going to go out on a convoy the next morning." So I hustled right down to the battalion dispatch shack, picked up a green logbook, which had the number 109 outside, and went down the row of trucks until I found 109. Jumped in that truck and away I went. I got about halfway to the ammunition dump, and it sputtered and died. And no amount of cranking would get it to start again. So there I was out in the middle of nowhere, green, didn't even have a weapon yet, hadn't drawn a weapon yet. And about an hour later, this Jeep pulls up, and a full-bird colonel come walking up. And I saluted, and he said, "We don't do that much over here." And he said, "What's the trouble, son?" And I said, "The truck just died." He walked over to the truck, unscrewed the fuel tank cap, and it was bone dry. And so he took me back to the company area where I had a very short but pointed discussion with the company commander, who said next time I might want to do some pre-operation inspection and maintenance. And if that happened again, I would probably lose some money and receive some extra duty. To add insult to injury, it wasn't even one of my company's trucks. It was, I had looked at the bumper number, 109, but I had not looked at the unit designation. So it was another company's truck that had been placed there because it needed maintenance. Now you might wonder what that story has to do with today. Well, Pentecost is a day that we celebrate the gift of the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit has been represented by a dove, a flame, the wind, that still small voice, among other things. But I want to offer a little different image of the Holy Spirit today. I want to offer the image of the Holy Spirit as being fuel. The fuel that drives our faith and personal and church lives. And that's why I think that story ties in the message today. We are told that when we receive the power When the Holy Spirit comes upon us, when we receive the Holy Spirit, we will receive power. The Holy Spirit is our means of receiving power from God. The power to face whatever we need to face that comes along in our life. The Holy Spirit is the energy source. The energy source that allowed that group that was hiding in the upper room to do what they needed to do. Without the Holy Spirit, that group of common, uneducated, ordinary men and women would not have been able to go out into the world and face the things that they faced and accomplish the things that they accomplished. It's the same thing with us. We cannot do what we need to do, either as individuals or as a church, without the Holy Spirit. We need the Holy Spirit just as a vehicle needs fuel to do what it's supposed to do. There's a story about a mechanic in Magnum, Oklahoma, that was sent out on a service call to a stalled vehicle out on a highway that ran through town. And after looking over the vehicle, he discovered that it was out of gas. So what he told the driver that the gas tank was empty. And they asked him, would it hurt to drive that vehicle with the tank being empty? As we have found, as I found, in that embarrassing moment or event with the wrong truck, a vehicle that does not have fuel won't run. And it won't do what it's supposed to do. It doesn't matter how nice or new the vehicle is. It doesn't matter what it was designed for or how powerful an engine it has. It just doesn't work without fuel. A car without fuel is not able to travel down the highway. And without power of the Holy Spirit, we cannot travel down our own faith journey. Jesus, before he left, says that his disciples has a lot to learn, but he's going to send them the Comforter, the Advocate, the source of all wisdom. And he tells them that once he is gone, the Holy Spirit will come and dwell in them, and he would not leave them orphans nor abandon them. And he would give them all that was necessary for a successful and victorious spiritual life. He gives us all we need to do the things that we need to do as followers of Christ. The Holy Spirit brings about change. Look what happened to Peter. There's no doubt that Peter was impulsive. And sometimes that was a good thing. For when he was called to be fishers of people, he immediately left his fishing business and followed Jesus. However, mostly his impulsivity caused him some trouble. His mouth and his impulsive ways often landed him in hot water. Besides being impulsive, Peter had another human weakness. He was not very brave. For the night he was confronted, he told the servant girl out in the courtyard that he did not even know Christ. We also know that he was among the disciples that were locked up in the upper room, afraid that they would too be crucified. However, after he received the Holy Spirit, he stood in the middle of hundreds. And proclaimed the message of Jesus Christ. He was a changed man. The Holy Spirit gave him courage in place of fear. It gave him answers instead of questions. It gave him clarity instead of confusion. Most of us are going to have difficulties in our lives. We're going to need some help at times. Help to get through those frightening and troublesome times. Those times when we feel overwhelmed or inadequate. Times that we might feel abandoned or forgotten. It is those times that we can call on the Holy Spirit, and He'll help us get through those difficult times. And with the Holy Spirit, we are never alone. He's always available. He's never too busy. But Pentecost is not just something that happened long ago. Pentecost happens at our conversion. Once we accept Jesus Christ into our lives, we have the power of the Holy Spirit. It's an awesome power. It's the power that raised Jesus from the dead. It's the same power that spoke the world to existence. It is the power that, when it said, "Let there be light," and there was light. We all need the power of the Holy Spirit. I think even more so now. We need the power of the Holy Spirit because we need fuel to go down that rough road of life. But unlike on highway, where we might be in the middle of nowhere and no gas stations available, we have a divine gas station within our reach. Always. We have the Word of God. And the Holy Spirit. And with the power, that's power. We can do anything. Are you low on fuel? Then call on Him, the Holy Spirit. And that is the word of the Lord this day.